For myself as a business person, I was looking up all the co-working spaces, all the podcasting studios, anything relevant to what I'm doing with my business and for my career. I bookmarked and I saved all of those. I left notes in them in my Google Maps. Welcome to She's Interesting. I'm your host, Rashel Hariri. I'm an award-winning marketer, startup advisor, and I am the founder and host of She's Interesting. In today's episode, we are talking about taking chances in life, making transitions, and how to survive those transitions. We are talking about my move to the US. I am Canadian, believe it or not, and I have moved to the US, and we're talking all about why I'm here, how I got here as a Canadian, what I'm going to be doing next with She's Interesting, and how I've started to build my own community, even though I've only been here for 2.5 weeks. Let's get into it. Grab your coffee, grab your matcha, grab your tea, grab your blanket, or, it's kind of hot, maybe don't do that. And let's get started. So number one question I got is, what are you doing? Where are you? And, why are you in the US? So number one, it's because of my husband's job. He is an American citizen. He's actually a dual citizen, and he had a really great opportunity to move to the US. And so he called me one day and was like, Rashel, they're offering me an opportunity to move to the US. Should we do this? And my response was, after, like a 2-second pause, yes, let's absolutely do this. I am the type of person that's always wanted to experience something new, to try living in a new country. And this just made a lot of sense for us. Like, it was a great way to leave the community that we've both been a part of for 30 some years and to try something new. So I said yes. Also, I think that as a partner, if I had a really great opportunity to move somewhere, I would expect that my partner would also say, yes, let's do it. It's good for your career. It's good for what you're trying to do in the world and what your purpose is. So let's go ahead. And I said yes. And he was, honestly, I think he was a little bit shocked at first, because we're living in the South. Like, we're not in New York. We're not in LA, although I love both of those places. And I'm going to New York next month in June. But I was like, yeah, you know what? This sounds like a really great adventure. And I am the type of person that sees the cup half full. I'm very positive. And I will say, a friend told me, we were talking about my move to the States, and she told me, she said, Rashel, you are the type of person that no matter where you go, you're going to find fun things to do and you're going to have a good time. And that was really nice to hear, because I never really thought about it in that way. But now I realize it's true. I've only been here 2.5 weeks, and I've made friends, and I've explored so much of my area. I'm not mentioning exactly where I live just for privacy purposes, but I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to start seeing me tag the places that I go to and where I'm at. But let's just say I'm in the South, and it's a very popular area that is growing very quickly, and I'm very excited to be here. So yeah, that's what's been going on in my life. 2.5 weeks, and I left Toronto. I came here, and I have just been immersing myself in my neighborhood, trying to build a community, unpacking boxes, so many boxes. We just got rid of a bunch of boxes yesterday. Some people have been telling me, they're like, yeah, don't worry, it takes like 6 months. When we moved here, it took us 6 months to settle in. And I was like, no, I can't. I don't want to take 6 months to settle in. I want to be as comfortable as possible, and I want to get my life going, because for those who don't know, I've been waiting for this move for like 2 years. My husband actually moved here before I did, because he's an American citizen. He could very quickly just leave Canada and move to the States. It was no problem for him. But for me, I had to wait to get my green card. And because I was running my business in Canada, there's no way I could just like give things up and come to the States. So based on advice from the lawyers I had to wait. And that's how long it took, unfortunately, because there were delays and, system issues. It was honestly a really difficult time for me, because I just didn't know what my next step was. I couldn't plan. I couldn't really see the future, because I just didn't know how long it was going to take. Like, we thought it would take a year. It ended up taking much longer than that. And so I am really embracing being here. I'm really happy that I'm here. And I love that it's so hot. I have a love-hate relationship with the heat. My hair, for those who are watching, is not doing well in the humidity, but we're going to make this work. It's all a transition. Everything that I know and was used to, because I grew up and lived in Toronto for 30 some years, and now all of a sudden I'm living in the South, I need to relearn some things. And one thing that I will say is I am relearning the Toronto attitude. If anybody's listening and you're from Toronto, you will totally resonate with this, where people are just not as open to making friends. Like here, I met someone at the dog park across from where I live, and she gave me her phone number and was so sweet and said, let's hang out, let's go get drinks or whatever you want to do. And I'll let me know if you have any questions. And so that was so nice. In Toronto, if you meet someone that moves there, you're kind of like, okay, great. Good to meet you. Take care. See you when I see you. And so I am really embracing Southern hospitality, the kindness of people. When I first got here, I was like, whoa, why are people being so nice? Now I'm just all about it. And I really am happy and excited for this chapter in my life, because I think after 37 years of living in Canada, being in Toronto, I'm ready for a new environment. And I feel like coming here has already started to lower my cortisol. I have self-diagnosed high cortisol, but I know, because I can tell the puffiness in my face, the inflammation, the cortisol belly, all of these things, it's just had to do with my lifestyle, and obviously diet is a big part of it too. But now that I'm here, it's a different pace. It's a good pace that I'm really happy with. Everyone here is really kind, as I mentioned, and I'm really embracing it. So if you're looking to make a transition and this is resonating with you because you've left your big city to move to a small town, which I know a lot of people are doing, just we want a different lifestyle, or if you've left your hometown or where you've grown up and you're moving into a big city or somewhere else, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the things that we're doing to get ourselves to feel comfortable, how we're building new habits, and how we're going to get ourselves comfortable in our new space. One thing I'm doing, the number one thing, is giving myself grace and recognizing what I do know and what I don't know. Moving from Canada to the US, I am relearning or learning all about, how to set up your business. Is it a corporation? Is it an LLC? It's very different in Canada than it is here. State by state, there's different rules. I'm learning all about this, and I've gone to my network and people that I know and trust to give me advice or to point me to the right direction of someone who is a lawyer or an accountant that can support me during this time. So if you are a business owner and you're leaving your country, the best advice that I got leaving Canada was to close down my businesses in Canada, shut everything down, and then re-register in the new country that I'm moving at. There's a lot of benefits to this. There are tax benefits. So when you're leaving Canada, if you continue to do business there and you have your business registered there, you do have to pay high taxes as a foreign business, essentially. And if you're moving to the States, it just makes sense that you would register here. There's lots of tax benefits for your business. And I know that I'm going to be here for a while. It's not like I'm going to be here for 6 months and going back. This is a permanent move. And so I needed to register here. So if you're also changing countries, make sure to find a good lawyer and a good accountant, and to start reaching out to the people in your community or network that have either done business in the country that you're moving to, or who have relatives, friends, cousins, anybody that's in that country that can point you in the right direction. Because although Canada and US are neighboring countries, we both speak English, you'd think there's so much that we have in common. Legally, there is a lot of differences. And so having someone to hold your hand throughout that process is just so helpful. So reach out, get the help. Know what you don't know, and release the rest and get support. Another part of my transition has been to really put myself out there to meet new people and to build my community. I think it's so important when you're moving somewhere where you literally don't have any family or friends. You need to start to build a community, find like-minded people. Do not isolate yourself and feel alone. My first thing was looking for people that are also in the podcasting space, for creators, for people that are in a similar industry that I can reach out to, build relationships with, and start to build that community. So just last week, I went to a podcasting meetup here, and it was really great. I met some lovely people. We exchanged Instagrams, and we're keeping in touch, and that was great. That filled my cup. I felt really good about it. Another thing that I would recommend doing is maybe finding like an F45 or some type of workout that's very community based, so that you can build relationships. When I was a member at F45 in Canada, they would have like drinks nights, they would have bowling nights. I mean, This is terrible to say. I never went to them. I never went to them. But being that I am a new person in a new town, I am more likely to go now, right? Like growing up in Toronto, like I mentioned before, it's just like no new friends vibe. I don't know why, actually, because I'm very friendly and I make friends very quickly. But it's not like I was seeking to find new friends. It's if I met someone at work or through a friend of a friend, then that would be cool, but I was never actively like, hey, I want to build a bigger community and meet new people. It just kind of happened organically through networking events and work. But I digress. Join these fitness clubs. Like, I'm not a CrossFit kind of person, so that wouldn't be for me. But if you're into CrossFit, F45, Orange Theory, those are really great workouts to join to sort of build community and friendships. Okay, so back to the life transitions. If you are going through a similar thing like I am, and you are leaving your network and everything you know behind, find co-working spaces. That's another thing that I did. As soon as I got here, I started looking and mapping out. Actually, Google Maps, when you're moving to a different country or you're moving somewhere new, Google Maps is your best friend. And not just for finding things, but for marking them and saving them in your Google Map. So for myself as a business person, I was looking up all the co-working spaces, all the podcasting studios, anything relevant to what I'm doing with my business and for my career. I bookmarked and I saved all of those. I left notes in them in my Google Maps, and I can reference them at any time. I know I'm not going to lose them. And I can tell within like a 10-mile radius what is around the area that I live and where should I go to start to network and find a place to work. I, in the past, would always go to the hotels or like the most bougie places that I would find, and I'd get a cappuccino and work from there. And that was my way of getting out of the house. But now that I'm in a new environment and what I'm really looking to do is build a community and build friendships and network with people, I'm going to more like co-working spaces. And that's my plan for the coming weeks, is to see which spaces do I want to go to. There are some members clubs in my area, so I'm going to be looking into that and checking out the pricing and seeing, like what feels right and what's the right vibe for me. But it's all exciting. If you're going to make a transition and you're not going to look at it from the lens of excitement, I really don't know why you're doing it, unless maybe it was forced on you for some reason. But the biggest takeaway that I've had is to lead with excitement, lead with good vibes, and just be open. Honestly, the openness is what's helped me to build friendships. I mean, I came here in February just for a quick visit, and on the airplane, I made a friend who actually lives here, and she's fantastic. She's an interior designer. She has the best eye for design and like colorful, beautiful homes. And so we sat next to each other on the plane, and we basically talked for the full hour that we were sitting next to each other. We exchanged phone numbers, and I just met up with her last week. And if I wasn't open to meeting new people, if I wasn't letting myself just go with the flow and connect with whatever's coming in my path or whoever's coming in my path, I don't know that I would have met this wonderful person that I've become friends with. So my advice, if you're going through a transition, is don't be hard on yourself and just embrace the changes and be strategic with where you're going to spend your energy. And the reason why I say that is because I had a really great conversation with someone last week, and she told me, you're moving to a new area, so everything is going to be requiring more mental work. Where you want to go for coffee, which bank you want to go to, where you want to go grocery shopping, all of these things that were second nature in the town or city that you lived in before, you are now relearning and trying to find your habits and your comfort space. And so this requires a lot more brain capacity and a lot more energy, which is going to tire you out. And honestly, I didn't realize that until she mentioned it to me, and it was like a light bulb went off. And I was like, yes, you're right. I am like falling asleep at 10 o'clock. I'm so tired by 9:30. And it's maybe not just like the time change, but because mentally I'm just like so stimulated. And as someone who has ADHD, this could not be like, this is actually like the best thing that's happened to me, because my brain is stimulated. The dopamine is high. I'm constantly finding things I want to do, places I want to go, experiences that I want to have in this new place that I'm living. And so I guess if you have ADHD, move. No, I'm kidding. That's probably not good advice, but it's really helped me a lot. And what I've been doing more recently now is figuring out what's my routine. On Mondays, I am researching and I am creating content. On Tuesdays, I am organizing myself and doing client work. On Wednesdays, I'm taking calls and meetings with my coaching clients. Thursday, I'm doing the same thing. And then Fridays is my shut off day. So I don't plan anything specific, but I will do like networking, having calls with people. I'm really just trying to build out the schedule that's going to work for me. What does my new life look like? What's this new version of Rashel? Who is she? How does she spend her time and her day? What coffee shops does she go to? Who is she friends with? Which I think is really important. So these are all of my takeaways of going through this transition and the excitement of it. And I really hope that if you're going through something similar, that you are having a good time, that you're embracing everything and just soak it all up in, because it's not permanent. These changes that we make in life are not permanent. If you are transitioning to move to a new city or a new state, it's not permanent. Anything can change at any time. But while you are going through this new phase and new season in your life, it's so important to be open and to embrace it, and to embrace the people that are going to come into your path and help to shape who you are and your future self. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So this takes us to the next portion of the podcast, which is what is happening with She's Interesting. She's Interesting ain't going nowhere. Okay, She's Interesting is sticking around. She's Interesting is going to get bigger. She's Interesting is expanding and going to be growing throughout the US. I'm so excited. I'm putting together some great advisors to support She's Interesting. We're just getting started, honestly. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, with what I can be doing with She's Interesting. I'm going to be looking to hire some team members to work with me, and in what capacity you might be thinking, on more of like the marketing side, SEO side. There's going to be a new website for She's Interesting. So much good supportive content for you women entrepreneurs out there, or aspiring entrepreneurs. There's a lot coming. I just need to brace myself, because I feel the busyness and I feel the butterflies in my stomach, and it's very exciting. So yeah, she's not going anywhere. She's still going to be interesting, and she's still going to be hosted by me, Rashel Hariri. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed our little coffee chat. If you have any questions, or if you're going through a similar transition or life change, let me know. I'm here to support you all. You are my community. You're my online community. We may not be there to see each other face to face, but I'm here for you online. So send me messages on Instagram. Feel free to email me. I'm always here to chat. Thank you for spending your time with me. As always, make sure to subscribe to this podcast if you like me. If you like She's Interesting, subscribe to the podcast. We have a really exciting episode that's coming out next week with Mary Young, teaser. And subscribe to our newsletter. Follow us on Instagram, because that's where I spend a lot of my time. Have a great rest of your day.